Okay.
But as long as neither one of us have Die Hard on here, I think we're good.
Okay, let me replace Die Hard
Because
real quick.
yeah,
Let's
no,
see.
because did you really
That
put
was
Die
a
Hard in
throwaway.
yours?
Yes, that was a throwaway one. Let's see. I'll pick one before the end. That's fine. Go on. Go
That's
on.
funny.
It's Christmas. It's our Christmas episode. That's exciting.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we're not going to do any news. We're just going to talk about our favorite movies, right? Not favorite movies, favorite Christmas movies.
Yes. I tried my hardest to pick out the ones that people don't really know about. But as I started going down my list, I was just like, you know what? I need to pick the ones that people don't really know
Introduce
or don't
people.
really
Yeah,
associate.
that's what I
Yeah.
usually go to you for because I've introduced you as the guy who knows all the movies that I don't know, basically, and then some. Like I know some movies, and you
Yeah.
know the rest of them. That's what I like
The
to say.
rest of them, baby. Oh yeah. I have a problem. I have a disease.
It's a forever thing now. Welcome to History of Popcorn. This is episode 41, our Christmas episode. If you don't know what History of Popcorn is, it's your secret public movie club. We are your hosts. I'm Elijah.
I'm Justin.
And we enjoy movies and we like to talk about movies. And so if you're here, that's probably a good thing because we're going to be talking about movies, Christmas movies specifically today. How do I get into the Christmas spirit? How would you get into the Christmas spirit, Justin?
I would insert a clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger screaming, "Put the cookie down," and then go straight into to the Christmas movies.
So if you don't know, that is from one of my favorite Christmas movies that is on my list for sure of top 10. I'll start with that one because I feel like everyone knows that one. Also, hold on. So this one is this is Jingle All The Way is one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I will stand by it because there's a lot of things about it. I think Minnesota was a huge factor for it. That's where I grew up. So I recognize so many spots, but it was like there's this huge chase scene over a bouncy ball throughout the Mall of America. And the Mall of America is one of the coolest places in the United States. So I would recommend people watch that movie for that sequence alone, but also Sinbad and all the creations of Turbo Man. Everything about that movie I just love. I love how campy it is. And I like how there's like this whole, there's just so much I love about this movie, Justin. I feel like it'd be easier if I asked if what you don't like about it or something. Do you like this movie? Are you a fan of this movie? Am I going to have to convince you? That's what I should ask.
Not particularly, but it is something that's always on. And when it's on, I can't help but watch it, and I'm always smiling and having a good time. But it's not that good of a movie. But it does have funny parts though. Like I do like Phil Hartman's creepy ass neighbor performance. He's fucking all the housewives, and he's trying to get into Tom Hanks's wife, who's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife in the movie. But but honestly, dude, movie is actually pretty damn funny until he puts on that goddamn Turbo Man costume, and that entire sequence is just a big what the fuck is going on here. And little Anakin Skywalker too is just
Jake Lloyd, that's true.
I'm glad
he did. He didn't
die, but his career did.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's quite a way to go from Star Wars to that. Which one did he do first? I don't even know.
He did Jingle All The Way first, and George Lucas watched it and was like, oh, I know.
That kid's going to grow up to be evil. I know it.
It's just so funny to me.
Found out that the director, have you looked up the director of Jingle All The Way?
Yeah.
At any point, his name's Brian Levant.
Yeah, he's some studio director, right?
Basically, yeah, because he's done a few other movies that people might recognize. He did the first Snow Dogs. I think there's only one Snow Dogs, but Cuba Gooding Jr. He did Are We There Yet?
Oh no.
With Ice Cube. So he did some other classics, I would say. Oh, he did The Spy Next Door. There was a big gap, and then he did The Spy Next Door. Because he did
Oh my god, with Jackie
and then The
Chan.
Spy Next Door. Yes. So he's worked with the biggest names. He did. Oh, okay. This is a little
hell of a career.
Wow. He did A Christmas Story 2, the sequel, the 2012 sequel.
Oh man, that movie's awful.
That's interesting. I thought that trailer looked like, I remember seeing the trailer for that, and it looked like it was a student film trying to like mock it or something. Yeah. The original.
The best part is Daniel Stern as the old man. But then again, if that's your highlight, there's something wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
They made Ralphie such a fucking creep in that movie too. I don't know.
It follows Ralphie like the same story.
Yeah, he's like
same kid,
and he's in high school now. Yeah.
Wow. He's
in high school now, and instead of having a red rock a BB gun, he wants a car. And so it's like interesting. It's like, okay, like that, I guess that could be a thing, but then you watch it and you're just like, what the fuck, dude? This is terrible. And the thing is that writer of A Christmas Story, I can't remember his name right now, but he had like a bunch of different stories, you know, so they could have just adapted. And it's
another one of those.
They use the same characters.
They did the Fletch method.
Yep, they did the Fletch method.
That was a callback to an old episode, if you know what we're talking about. But so that's one of my favorite movies, that one, and I think everyone knows that by now because I have a Turbo Man doll, and I grew up watching it all the time, and it's something that I'll hold dear to my heart all the time, and no one can convince me that's bad because it makes me feel so good. I don't know if that's a healthy outlook on life, but I'm going to stand by it with the Christmas movies. So Justin, what is one of your favorite Christmas movies?
There's so many good ones, but I do have 3 or 4 that are
just classics.
Yeah. Okay. But as long as neither one of us have Die Hard on here, I think we're good.
Okay, let me replace Die Hard real quick. Let's see.
That was
a throwaway. Yes, that was a throwaway one. Let's see. I'll pick one before the end. That's fine. Go on.
So I'm just actually going to go with a newer movie that literally just came out this year.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say. Okay.
Go on. And none of these are in order, just so you know. Like,
neither are mine.
I'm just kind of. So it's 8-Bit Christmas.
I knew it.
Starring Steve Zahn. Steve Zahn and Neil Patrick Harris are like the two like main. Like Steve Zahn plays the dad, and Neil Patrick Harris plays an older version of the kid that we focus on. And this movie's basically a Christmas Story remake, but it's in the 80s. And instead of a BB gun, he wants to get a Nintendo. And when you watch this movie, it's exactly something studios should take notes from, because it is copying a Christmas Story basically, but it made it its own thing instead of doing like, oh, we're going to just reboot it and do the same jokes. And, you know, like it's all very unique, even though it's a very familiar story. And not just that, it's funny as hell. I was shocked at how much I laughed at this movie. It was just one of those things. I was like, it was like on my phone, looking over my notes and stuff. And then Neil Patrick Harris and like the girl that's playing his daughter, like he's telling the story to, they just already had like great chemistry. Like they were like just the way they were talking to each other. I was just like, this is really good.
Suddenly put your phone down.
Yeah. I was like, so far, this is actually surprisingly good for a straight to streaming. Like no one's talked about this movie at all.
I was going to try to have it be something we talked about when I heard about the announcement of Neil Patrick Harris being in a movie called 8-Bit Christmas, like probably very early on, but there wasn't like much about it. And then I was holding on to that story until I realized it was coming out in like a couple of weeks and the trailer just dropped. And I was like, wow, that looks really good. And when the trailer dropped, I was surprised. And I wish we had talked about it before the trailer had come out, because I was surprised too by the way it looked. And I was very satisfied by the way it looked in the trailer already. And it came out around Thanksgiving. And when I was at my sister's house, who was hosting Thanksgiving, they put it on as a family movie to watch. And I was like, I didn't really watch it because we had other people over gathering too. So we were socializing, and then there's people in the living room watching the movie. And I didn't want to watch the movie in like the background. So I focused more on socializing. And I could hear everyone just laughing so much. And I'm like, dang it, it's already so far in. I can't join in now. So I like actively tried not to watch it when I was there. And I want to apologize to Nacia because she's like, this is going to be a good movie. And I'm like, I know, but I'm hanging out with people I haven't seen. and so she knew it was going to be a good movie, and she was greatly surprised. And everyone that watched it was like, you should have watched it. And I was like, I know, I want to still. And you talking about it now makes me even want to watch it more because it did look really good.
Yeah, no, it's a treat. But the main kid, Winslow Fegley, I think that's how you say his name. He plays a younger Neil Patrick Harris. He is so fucking good in this, dude. Like, this kid is going to be a star. This kid had such great comedic moments. But not only that, like, there's this one part where he's just devastated. And his face, and you just feel it, dude. You feel it so hard. But also, shout out to Steve Zahn, who plays the dad of the kid. He is absolutely great. Once again, I know I keep repeating myself. It is just basically the old man from Christmas Story. He's like repairing all this stuff. He's like always grumpy, but he's just so good. And like the way that this movie wraps everything up it's so heartfelt, and actually got me like, I was like, dude, I remember like my buddy was literally waiting outside for me. It was like, are you ready to go? We have like, we still have some time to like set up and stuff. He was just like, been sitting out here, and I was like, dude, this movie's almost done. I like walk into his car, and I'm just like, he's like, what's up? I was like, dude, I just watched like the sweetest movie of all time. It's been a while since I've seen a Christmas movie.
Your heart grew 3 sizes.
Modern day Christmas movie. Yeah, it really did. It's just impressive to me, especially like during the trying times. It's very, very, I like it. It was great. I recommend it.
My next one for my very favorite Christmas movie, it has to be the super classic of It's a Wonderful Life. That has to be on my list because I just recently saw it in the theater for the first time, and that really makes it hit different. You can't turn away from everything that's happening, and you really just see, like, seeing it over and over. I don't know, it's like one of those a little recharge, and you'll get like a different outlook on life for a second. Just watching that movie, I kept thinking there's I haven't seen like an actor like Jimmy Stewart in quite some time, and I don't even think I could think of a modern day like equivalent to Jimmy Stewart. There's something that was so peculiar about him, and it really shows on the big screen, and the writing of that is incredible. I actually have the screenplay in my bookshelf because it's just such a good story too. Like, it's plays out like a book. I love that one. And it's a classic. Frank Capra. If you don't know, have been talking to a few people who have never seen it, and I recommended it to them. And someone actually got back to me like the next day and was like, that movie made me feel so warm. And they're like, what does it mean? And I was like, probably that the littlest bit of good can do so much more than people can think. I think that's what the takeaway from the movie is. So that, I think, is the epitome of Christmas.
Yeah,
so I gotta get that in there.
Yeah, no, totally. I haven't seen that one in a little bit. That was one of my dad's favorites. That one, White Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life, though. Yeah, that is it's a really, really good one. I remember the first time I watched it, I was also like kind of like confused because I was a kid.
Yeah.
But my dad just explained it like as just like, it's about like you have to just cherish everything in life, even when you're going down, you want to not be, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie if you're depressed and you're, if you're really low, then you watch that movie and like you'll be like, okay, I can give this whole life thing another shot.
Exactly. Yep. So
we all have a little George Bailey inside of us.
Yes, we do.
Every time a bell rings An angel gets his wings.
There we go. I'm gonna end this episode with a bell. You remember that?
Yes, do
All
it.
right.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Anna and the Apocalypse. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah.
So if you like Christmas, of course, then this movie's for you. But if you also like zombies, this movie's for you. And if you like musicals, then this is a perfect movie. And that's actually exactly what it is. When you hear something like that, you think it's going to be a really wacky, stupid movie, but it is not at all. It goes the complete opposite direction. This movie is pretty much a drama, and it has funny moments, don't get me wrong, and it is a very, very charming movie, and it is a musical, but it takes it very, very seriously in like the best of ways, in my opinion. This is me and Patrick Dolan. He's a friend of the show. Him and I found this movie together, and the backstory of it as well is very interesting, because the original writer of the movie, because this was based off of a short film, and the original writer, Ryan McHenry, he also created that Vine where he's trying to feed cereal to Ryan Gosling, and he keeps
no way.
Away.
He was the original guy who did that.
He was the original guy that did that, and right before they filmed this movie, he died of cancer.
Wow.
So like they still credited him as the writer of this movie. And if we want further proof why Ryan Gosling is just amazing, Ryan Gosling made a Vine where he finally ate, once he found out that he passed, he actually ate the cereal. So that's just a little tidbit right there.
Wow.
I know, right? It's sad, but it's bittersweet.
So I remember seeing both of those. I didn't know that happened to the original creator. That's insane.
Yep. So yeah, this is a zombie Christmas musical. It's about this girl Anna, who she is an angsty teenager, and she's just going through the typical angsty teenager bullshit, and she doesn't like her hometown. This movie's British, so it's very, 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 very British. And it's a lot of fun. And she has this best friend who's secretly in love with her, and they're just kids.
Is that a spoiler?
It's Christmas time. No. This movie, once you watch it, you think that's the best part about this, because you see all these characters, you hear that, and you think where the story's going to go. Because then, of course, it's Christmas, and then the zombie apocalypse happens, and then they have to try to survive. You think you have an idea of what this movie's going to be, but it takes a completely different direction, and in the best of ways. And the songs elevate it, and they aren't these big show tuney musical numbers. They're similar to something that Jonathan Larson would do. There's more rock. And it's
and they're original songs.
They're all original songs, and
cool.
It's amazing. It's a really, really great movie. Patrick and I, when we watched this together, we were expecting it to be a lot funnier, because the trailer made it look like it was a full.
They're pitching
it
as a comedy,
but for the most part, it is. But it takes the tone very, very seriously. Yeah, it's a really good movie. And Patrick and I, when we first watched it, we were crying at the end, because we were like, damn, dude, that was really fucking good. I love it.
Okay.
I
can kind of see where it could go now. That's a good pitch, and I want to see it unravel, because
yes,
I like having expectations. I like zombie movies with a good cast, because it's it's a good you just don't want to see anyone go. And I feel
yes,
the way you're explaining it, the way it seems good. Yes, that way.
Yes.
That's the way it is with Shaun of the Dead, for sure, because you love every character so much.
Yeah, and it does similar shit there. How when you watch Shaun of the Dead, it's a funny movie, but then when shit gets real, it's this is
you're sweating.
Yeah.
I'll knock out another classic that I feel like everyone might have. I have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. the Jim Carrey one.
course.
I never saw
I
the
was
one
gonna
with
say.
Benedict Cumberbatch, but someone recommended,
Don't.
said it's actually worth watching. And I was like, I might watch it, but we'll see. Illumination's hit or miss for me. It's like I either liked it a lot or I forget that I even saw it.
Yeah.
But for the How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, I think a lot of people have seen this. If you're listening to this, I will assume that you have seen this because it's one of those movies around our generation, I feel like, that grew up watching it. But is it true? I see it everywhere, and I want to know, is it true that Jim Carrey had to go through like military therapy for the costume and his like contacts for the pain and everything? Is that what it was? It was like military grade, like pain therapy.
Yeah, no, it was it was like torture classes, basically, like how to
deal with that,
keep it together. Yeah, keep it together and not break while you're getting tortured by
is that because of the process was so long, or because it was his contacts? I heard mainly that was the painful part.
It was
like they were thick.
It was the contacts. Yeah, it was the contacts and like just working like 17 hours or whatever, and all that prosthetic, like I can't imagine. I wouldn't been able to do it. It just shows how that's why Eddie Murphy's an insane person. He's the only person in the world that'll be like, I'll keep doing it in the same movie too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. A lot of the movies I feel like that are my favorite Christmas movies, I don't have to like explain much of them because everyone's like, oh yeah, it's the Grinch. So
yeah, I like the Grinch.
How many renditions are there so far? The only movies, like big movies.
Just the two.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and definitely I would take the Jim Carrey one over the Illumination one. I couldn't even finish the Illumination one, but the thing I like the most about, and the saving grace of Jim Carrey's Grinch is Jim Carrey, because he's so committed, and he's just so fucking funny. Ron Howard. See, that's the problem though.
Oh wow.
Because Ron Howard's a very hit or miss director. And this movie, he mostly misses, in my opinion.
Interesting.
His directing
I remember
style
the production design was very enjoyable.
Oh, amazing. Like the makeup, the production design is great, but the way that he shoots the movie is just so fucking weird. It's all shot in a Dutch angle, and it
seems like it was shot by what's his name?
Roger Deakins.
I love Roger Deakins. No. It's what's his name? Who did George Clooney's Batman?
Oh, Joel Schumacher.
It looks like it was by Joel Schumacher.
Yeah. No. It's definitely It's something. Yeah, it's just weird. Every single time I watch the movie, I watch it every Christmas with my mom's boyfriend's son, Luke. Shout out to Luke. Every single time we're with each other, it's like a tradition. We always put on the Grinch, but every single time, which is pretty much a good thing for the movie too. Every time I watch it, there's always something new that I see in it, but it's always something that I just don't like. I'm just like, why did they do that? That's such a weird thing to do. And not just that, this is a horny ass movie too.
Yeah, they made it definitely for all ages, and they try to hide a lot of stuff, a lot of innuendo, definitely a lot of tensions, a lot of stuff. So on that note,
but
sexual tension. What's your next movie?
It still is a really good movie though. It's a classic, and it's Jim Carrey is just, you can't go wrong with him. I'm gonna go with something more kid friendly now.
Okay.
Because since the last one I did was not very kid friendly. And this one's super underrated too. No one really talks about it. It has terrible reviews. And I don't really understand why. I've liked it since I was a kid, and every single time I watch it. Yeah, but I mean, like, this one's like, it's like audience reviews too. I don't understand what people have against this movie. I loved it when I was a kid, and I just recently watched it not too long ago, and I still love it.
I feel about Jingle All The Way.
Unaccompanied Minors.
I almost put that on my list. Yeah,
dude, Unaccompanied Minors, dude. That movie So it's Paul Feig's first feature film. He was at the time he was just known for directing TV and creating Freaks and Geeks. But this is his first go ahead into filmmaking before he blew up doing Bridesmaids. But this movie, like, I love the kids in it. I understand, like, there are like certain aspects I understand why people are like, okay, this movie's kind of obnoxious, and these kids are a little pretty terrible. Like all of them are like do terrible dumb shit and torture Lewis Black, who's he's
isn't it basically mean, like a group like Home Alone in an airport?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
it's like a group of kids doing Home Alone in an airport.
Yeah, it's Home Alone and Spy Kids mixed together.
It's awesome. And I saw it in theaters, and I remember thinking, this is amazing. And I loved that movie. And I don't think I've seen it since that came out. It was like 2007 or something. Yeah, but, I remember this movie very well, actually. Or I remember seeing it, the experience of it.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's just a bunch of kids that get
2006. That's when it came out.
6, damn, okay. I remember when I saw.
Wow.
Yeah. That
was news to me.
And dude, there's so many cameos in it too. There's so many good like
it's got Wilmer Valderrama, Rob Corddry, Rob Riggle, David Koechner, BJ Novak, Mindy Kaling. Dang.
Dude, and Mindy Kaling's part is hysterical. She only has one scene, but just her one scene, she's fucking funny.
It's got Tony Hale, Nick Thune, Kristen Wiig, Ben Falcone,
everybody. Yeah, it's great. I love the movie, and
Jessica Walters.
It's something I still, dude. Everyone that you can possibly think of makes an appearance, especially that were famous back in that time.
Oh yeah,
but it's a great holiday movie. I still don't understand why it gets all the hate that it gets.
That's awesome.
Because I mean, like, in the end of the movie too, like it's just something, like, it just still makes me laugh. And it's just, and there's, of course, there are gaping plot holes, but it's one of those movies where I hate when people say this, but I'll just say it for this one. It is just a kid's movie though. And like, it doesn't have to be super intelligent, but then again, it's such a funny movie, and there are jokes that went right over my head as a kid. But they're not like the Grinch, where it's like, whoa, that was way too far. That was way too sexual right there. There's just jokes in this that are actually just like funny that I just didn't get when I was a kid. Yeah. And it's
I almost
great.
put that one on my list too. I almost put that on, but I was like, I haven't seen that since it came out. I just remember that feeling. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. That's insane. Because that was a good Christmas movie, because I remember the feeling of watching it still in theaters.
It is
when I was very young.
It is on Netflix now.
Nice. I might have to watch that. I'm going to go with, I think this one's a little bit different. I don't know how many people will say this is one of their favorite Christmas movies, but this is a Sandra Bullock movie. Do you think you can guess which one it is? I don't know. She's done many Christmas movies. It's also got Peter Gallagher and Bill Pullman. It's from the year 1995.
Sandra Bullock
and Peter Gallagher
and Bill Pullman.
1995.
I have no idea.
It's called While You Were Sleeping. Have you heard of this?
I think I remember the poster, but I have not.
Yeah, it's the poster is like Bill Pullman holding Sandra Bullock next to the train.
Yes. Okay.
And the tagline is a story about love at second sight. It's a pretty adorable movie, I think. It's kind of weird if you think about it now, but basically the movie follows Sandra Bullock, who's like a very quirky, like before Zooey Deschanel ruined the word quirky, like hopeless romantic who I think she's in Chicago. I think it's in Chicago. And she like has this crush on this guy that she sees all the time, who is played by Peter Gallagher. the eyebrows, I guess we'll call them. And she saves his life after he falls on the tracks at this Chicago train. So she saves his life after he falls on the tracks, but he goes into a coma. And so at the hospital, she makes sure he's okay. And all the people are like, all the hospital people are like, are you family? Are you family? So they think that he's engaged to her. So they let her stay. And they're all like, oh, we've heard about you. We know you. This is the first time we're meeting. And then the family immediately takes her and it was like, thank you for saving his life. But then she has to continue to choose if she's going to lie to the family or keep going in this fake relationship. And then a lot of stuff happens.
That sounds fucked up.
Yeah. And she has to determine what she's going to do. Movie. And Bill Pullman comes in the picture because that's Peter Gallagher's brother. And, one thing leads to another. And Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman might or might not be love interests by the end of the movie. We don't know.
It must be so awkward. Oh my God. That entire thing.
The way it goes, it seems natural the way it happens.
Right. I definitely know. I'm gonna check that one out.
I love this movie.
Like
it's really funny.
It's set during Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas time, and she like goes to because she lives alone and she like doesn't have much of a family, so she goes to his family's Christmas and holidays while he's in a coma and recovering. It's pretty wild.
That is wild. That's so fucked up. That's gnarly.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite Christmas movies.
I'm in. My next one is going to be a Seth Rogen Christmas endeavor. This movie is The Night Before. And he shares the screen with Anthony Mackie and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And Michael Shannon appears. Tracy Morgan is the narrator. Lizzie Calling.
That's one of Michael Shannon's like best roles.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. This movie makes me laugh so hard. This was, in my opinion, the last good Seth Rogen movie before he got really annoying to me. But the reason why I think it's so good is because he's surrounded by genuinely funny people. And to me, at least, the writing is actually hysterical as well. The director is also, for the most part, he's always a competent director. Is Jonathan Levine, who did 50-50 and
I was gonna say
the Whackness.
I was gonna say the reunion of Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen's 50-50 reunion. That's another one my sister Nacia showed me, and that was a home run. That's a home run of a movie. Like that's one I would show my friends too around Christmas time. Like, let's put this on. We're like, okay,
yeah,
that's a good.
But yeah, Night Before, man. My buddy and I saw it. My buddy and I saw it in the theater, and we were expecting it to be silly, and it is very, very silly. It's very, very funny. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen, but it's also very, very heartfelt, and it's got the Christmas spirit all over it. And
it's about growing up and keeping traditions and stuff. It's just good. It's a good movie.
I recommend it to a lot of people. It's like one of the only Seth Rogen movies people don't really talk about because they were getting that fatigue. Because after the interview, people were just like, okay, he's just never gonna do anything different. But this is, even though it is pretty much the same, I think it is like really, really funny still. And yeah, if anything, just watch it for Michael Shannon because his parts in it are so fucking funny. You'll never hear me laugh harder than watching Michael Shannon say the most ridiculous shit.
My next one is, if you know me, I'm a big advocate for love, so I had to choose Love Actually. The whole movie's about love. So, and it's all Christmas, and Bill Nighy plays the best rock star there is. I've never seen he's a perfect rock star. But Richard Curtis, who wrote and directed this movie, he's a very British filmmaker, but I like all the movies he makes. He's probably in my top 5, probably directors and writers, probably. I just like his style and the stories he tells all the time.
He's the creator of Mr. Bean.
I did not know that. That's wild,
right?
Yeah, he is. He's also, wow, I didn't know that. How did I not know
Yeah.
that? But yeah, so Love Actually is classic.
Oh, it's a great movie. Love Actually
Good,
is
just so many good actors in it.
actually really
Just fun
good.
to see him. That I found out that was supposed to be two movies. He was writing two different movies, and he was just like, "I'm just going to put them together." It's going to be the Colin Firth storyline was one movie, and the Hugh Grant movie was one, or storyline was one movie. So he was writing those separately. And he was like, "I'm just going to put them together. Why not?"
Yeah,
And then
fuck
he
it.
came out and just added all the other stories to Love Actually.
Yeah, it's exactly what they try to do with those Valentine's Day movies and
Yeah, but
New
this
Year's Eve. But
yeah.
yeah, no, this is so much
Love
better.
Actually is
It
like
pretty
the
much
Pulp
started it
Fiction of
all.
romance.
100%. So it's definitely the Pulp Fiction of that kind of genre of
Yeah.
like this ensemble. But
So many storylines.
yeah, no, I think it's a really great movie, and it was pretty sure the last collaboration with Hugh Grant and Richard Curtis, right?
Yeah, Hugh Grant kind of went away for a while after that.
Yeah. I'll go with the classic. So this one has the great and powerful Bill Murray, and it's a Christmas Carol adaptation called Scrooged.
I've never seen this
You
one.
ever heard of this one?
I know
It's
the story of it. I know the story that it's adapted by, but I've never seen this rendition with is it Harold Ramis too? No.
No.
Oh.
This is directed by Richard Donner, who did the Lethal
Oh
Weapon
wow,
movies.
Superman as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. It's also written by Michael Donahue, who was the very first head writer of Saturday Night Live, and this is the
Hmm.
only movie that he was credited for. Michael Donahue was the Hunter S. Thompson of the comedy world. He was a fucking insane person.
Mhm.
Loved building bombs and shooting guns and yelling at people and throwing phones and doing drugs. He was an insane person. But he also wrote this Christmas movie. So there's that. But it's a really, really dark and twisted film about, he's Bill Murray's Ebenezer Scrooge type, but he plays Frank Cross, and he's a television executive. He owns this television company. He was passed by from his father, who passed, and he's just evil. He's the shit that he says, the shit that he does is just absolutely despicable, and
Isn't
you
his
hate the
last
guy.
isn't Bill Murray's like last monologue like one of the best? Like people say that's like one of the
Yes.
best acting he's ever done. Is it his
Yes.
last monologue, or is it like his breakdown scene?
Yeah.
There's like some major scene where people are like, this shows that he can do like everything.
Yeah. No, it's the last monologue, and it's yeah. No, it's really good, but there are flaws. The more and more I
Okay.
watch it, just like with the Grinch, that's every single time I watch it, there's always something I'm like, why
You
did they
started
do
that
that? That
really, you
makes no
started that
sense.
off really good though. You're like, there's always something I knew I noticed, but
Yeah.
it's always something I don't like. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
gonna go to
know.
the opposite
But
of
yeah.
Scrooge. I'm gonna
Okay.
say someone who loves Christmas, and that's Elf. That's Will Ferrell's Elf.
Oh yes.
That has to be on the
Of
list.
course.
That's always on in the background the week of Christmas. Any Christmas festivity we're doing, making cookies or anything, that's going to be on in the background. John Favreau knocked it out of
Yes.
the park with that one. Will Ferrell captured everything about the quirk of the story world in his character, and I love how committed he was, and I love that he said no to a sequel. I think he just preserved history by having this one movie
Yeah.
of Elf.
Yeah. I love it. It's a fucking classic. There's really nothing to say about that. It's a perfect movie. It's
Exactly.
a
Yeah,
literally
it's
perfect
one of
movie.
those ones. Oh, real quick. The guy who did Elf, that was his first movie, and then he wrote The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. So that's a good one. And then he did Zoom with Tim Allen, and then Spiderwick Chronicles, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. And now he's doing a Frosty the Snowman. And I wonder if that's going to be
Oh,
what that's going to be like. I hope he's not trying to strike another mat or strike gold by doing another version of Elf with Frosty the Snowman. We'll see.
yeah, we will see.
I'm gonna say two more real quick that are just really, really quick that are obviously just classics.
Okay.
For my list is Home Alone and A Christmas Story are both always on around Christmas time for me because obvious reasons. They hit the tone of Christmas. Like if I think of Christmas, it's like those two movies. But I
Yep.
have one wild card ending. So
So the next one I totally forgot about until I started talking about Scrooge. I can't believe I forgot about this movie because this might be my favorite Christmas movie and my favorite Muppet movie of all time. It's the
Ooh,
Muppets Christmas Carol. It's
I'm
dude.
wow.
If
Yeah, I'm
you haven't
surprised how
seen it,
big of a Muppets fan you are. Actually, because I
oh
haven't seen
god,
any. So like, I didn't grow up watching Muppets at all. My siblings did, but I didn't.
dude, Muppets are yeah, they're just so they're just so close to my heart. But Muppets Christmas Carol was the first Muppet movie after Jim Henson's passing,
Mm,
and his son took the mantle and directed what ended up being the my favorite Muppet movie. And Michael Caine plays the best Ebenezer Scrooge. It's not just a perfect Muppet movie; it's a perfect Christmas Carol adaptation too. I think it's honestly the best one because you think it's like just going to be a Muppet movie, and there are very Muppety things that happen. But
uh-huh.
Michael Caine is so committed of playing Scrooge, and he even said there's a quote from him. I'm going to paraphrase, but him flat out saying like, "If I do this, I'm not going to be singing or dancing. I'm not going to be winking at the camera. I'm going to play Scrooge." And everyone was like, "That's all we ask for."
Hmm.
And so that's what he does, and it's absolutely amazing.
I didn't
And
even
the
know Michael
puppet
Caine
work
was in it. Wow,
is
maybe I
great.
did. That just goes to show just how disconnected I am to Muppets, and I get to still experience it
Dude,
for the first time.
you got to get into it, man. Muppets are amazing. The next one I'm going to do is Krampus. I talked about this with you
Yeah,
beginning of the month,
around
and I wanted
Thanksgiving.
both
Yeah.
of us to watch it. Yeah, I wanted both of us to watch it and really dive into it because I think that you would love this movie. It's basically Gremlins, but you know how I said 8-bit Christmas is basically a Christmas Story remake.
Hmm.
Krampus is basically a Gremlins remake,
Like
and
a
but
remix.
the best part is that they made it, yeah, remixed. There we go. That's a better way to say it. Um, but it's great. The cast is great. We have Tony Colletti, Adam Scott, David
You have like
Ketchner.
every genre in your like favorite
Oh
movies.
yeah,
Mine are all just like heartwarmed, like love stories or something. Heartwarming love stories.
I'm a
But yeah,
genre
you got them
guy.
all. You got them all.
Featuring Duke.
It's okay. We're almost done,
Um,
Duke. It's
I
okay.
know, right? He's a wild dog. But yeah, no, that movie's amazing. The practical effects are great. I have one more, but definitely watch Krampus. It's basically the anti-Santa. If you say you don't believe in Santa anymore, this little kid he does, then Krampus comes to your house instead of Santa, and he
Oh
eats
damn.
you.
Oh
So
wow.
take that, like you take that for what it is, and he has all of his minions, and that's the Gremlins part-ish part because all these like little minions are attacking the family, and dude, it is so fucking good. It's really great, and the guy that directed it ended up going on to do Godzilla King of the Monsters. So take that for what it is as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So the next one that I'm gonna do, I'll do another. I'll keep it in the horror genre for a moment. Better Watch Out. I don't know if you've seen that
I've never
or
even
heard of
heard
it.
of this.
Better Watch Out is a super fucking gnarly film about this kid who needs a babysitter even though he's 12 years old. And the babysitter, they have a really nice relationship with each other. And one night these people just break in, and that's kind of all that I'll really say. But shit happens, Elijah, and it's not what it seems. And you think that the movie's going to go one direction, but it goes a completely different direction, and it is
Hey.
absolutely terrifying. It's basically Home Alone meets Funny Games. I don't know if you've heard of Funny Games,
Yeah.
but it gets really really fucking twisted and dark and gory. It's everything that the babysitter wanted to be, but absolutely failed because it's god awful. Anyways, so yeah, it's way better than that, and I definitely recommend it. Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one. I definitely recommend Better Watch Out to everybody.
Mhm. Um, I got one more Christmas movie. This one is some people have probably heard of it. I think it's considered a cult classic, but it came out before I was like interested in movies. I was still pretty young. Came out in 2005. It is Just Friends, starring Ryan
I have that.
Reynolds.
Yes, I love
Really?
that movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So it's got Ryan
I love
Reynolds,
that
Amy
movie.
Smart, Anna Faris. And this movie is so funny. It's about Ryan Reynolds. He was picked on a lot in his high school years in his hometown. And then he finally comes home years later and he's Ryan Reynolds now. He goes from being picked on to being Ryan Reynolds. He goes back and no one can pick on him anymore. But then he runs into his old friend from high school and the one who friend zoned him all those years ago. And he gets another chance with her, perhaps. It's a pretty funny movie. It's before Ryan Reynolds was super self-aware. It still kind of feels like that, but it's very good early Ryan Reynolds. What would you have to say about the movie? Because I know you enjoy it too, as you said.
Oh, it's a classic. I literally just watched this movie not too long ago with a friend of mine, and it's so good. I remember the first time I watched it was on HBO, and my dad and I caught it halfway through, and we were just fucking dying. And so we loved it so much that we watched it again. A lot of jokes would go over my head, but this movie was the first one where my dad and I, like, I wouldn't just look at my dad and be like, ha, 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 ha. Like, I actually was just like, oh my God, this is fucking gold. I love that movie so much.
Yeah. That's my last one on the recommended.
Yeah, I'll just do one more.
Yeah. Let's go. Christmas time is here.
It's super weird, and it's actually not that good of a movie, but I feel like I should watch it because it's hysterical. It's really, really, really funny. It's called Santa's Sleigh, Slay, and it's a super self-aware movie about it came out in 2005, but it looks like it was made in 85.
I remember seeing this DVD in Blockbuster when I was a kid.
Yeah, Bill Goldberg, who I think is a wrestler or something.
Yeah,
he plays
the
Santa Claus. Yeah, he plays Santa Claus, who's actually a demon who lost a bet with an angel, so he becomes the giver of toys and happiness. But when the bet is off, he returns to his evil ways. And it's mainly focused on this kid who is so bad in it, but you can just tell that it's all just a joke. Okay?
Hold on. This movie does this have Chris Kattan in it?
Yeah, he's in the opening scene.
Oh my God. This movie looks like it's the type of movie where they just do one take because they couldn't afford anymore. They're like, we just got to go. Yeah. Let's keep going. Everyone remember their lines? No? All right, let's keep going. It looks like that just from the stills. I haven't seen it, but
dude, it's so fucking funny. I'm telling you, I know it's a tough sell, and I'm not saying it's a good movie or it's my favorite Christmas movie, but I definitely
this looks like prime era of filmmaking.
Yes. And dude, oh my God, I can't honestly, I can't praise this movie enough. It's so
weird that I remember seeing that cover in Blockbusters, like specifically. I remember that one, the one where he's slashing at the.
That's the last one that I'll say. Like some honorable mentions, though.
Your Christmas movies got really dark by the end. You're like,
I know,
good comedy, murder. That's Christmas for you.
Stupid, but some honorable mentions though are like a very Harold and Kumar Christmas, even though like there's some things that are super dated in it already. There's still some funny shit in it. But I got that one, and then Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. Another one that's kind of racy nowadays, but it has a lot of heart to it. And the last but not least, this is actually probably my favorite Christmas movie. I didn't want to talk about it because it's always talked about. And it's obvious why it's so good, but it's the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Oh yeah, that's the one you teased last week. The Santa Claus. I watched that for the first time a couple of years ago because my sister Nacia shows me all the movies that I haven't seen. Like she's the biggest person that introduces me. If it's not you, it's my sister Nacia. So those are the people who introduce me to movies the most.
Yep. Well, those are the Christmas movies.
Yeah, that's our Christmas. Those are our favorites. Let us know if you've seen those or if you're going to watch any of those. Mainly the ones that Justin said. I had never heard of like half of those. So I have to watch. I have some work to do this Christmas break.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for listening to us. Let us know what your favorite Christmas movies are. Follow us on all the social medias. We hope everyone has a good holiday season. I think we're gonna take a Christmas break. Probably won't do an episode till next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
We'll be
see you next year.
Yeah, we'll be seeing everyone in 2022. And I think our first episode's back is just going to be our favorite movies from this year, if you're interested in that. But we need to give ourselves some time to catch up on some movies that came out this year that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I still have to watch Licorice Pizza and Don't Look Up. Those are the two ones that I'm mainly waiting for.
But Christmas. I hope everyone has a good Christmas. I never know how to end these. I guess we'll let everyone do what they want now. Thank you for listening to us and giving us your time. We hope everyone has a good Christmas. I keep saying that. Bye, guys. Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.